Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I am here today with my book haul from YALC. So if you don't know, YALC is the Young Adult Literature Convention that happens here in London every year at the end of July. It is part of the London Film and Comic Con, so your YALC ticket does allow you access to London Film and Comic Con, and they're on separate floors. So London Film and Comic Con is on one floor and then YALC is on the floor above it, and you are allowed to freely come and go between them, so you can check out what they've got at London Film and Comic Con, as well as obviously all of the great stuff that they have at YALC. So I have been to YALC every year that it has been running. I believe this year was its 5th year. Even though I did actually have a 3-day pass for this year's YALC, I actually only ended up going to the first day of it, so I was only actually there on the Friday. I did plan on dropping in on the Saturday and Sunday, but to be honest, the reason why I didn't was just because I really was not in the right headspace for it this year. I just really did not want to kind of like put myself into the craziness that can be book conventions. So I'm really sorry if there was any of you who wanted to meet up with me or catch up with me on the Saturday or Sunday and I wasn't there. I'm really sorry, and I really hope that we can do that in the future, but I just had to kind of exercise some self-care because I just really wasn't in the mood to do the whole kind of social side of a book con this year, which does suck. I really know that it sucks so much, and I really wish that I hadn't been feeling like that on the weekend that YALC happened to be. A special shout out though to both Penguin Random House and the mental health charity Mind, because somebody at one of those companies, or possibly a combination of both of those companies, decided to team up this year at YALC. And I know this is the first year that they've done this because I've been to YALC every year, and this is definitely the first time that they have had this. They have decided to team up and create a special quiet zone at YALC this year, and I just thought it was so lovely. So it was like a little area away from all of the talks and the panels and the stalls and the crazy social busyness that is book cons, and there were really comfy bean bags to sit on and relax on, and there were some lovely inspirational motivational quotes from YA books all over the walls of this little quiet zone, and you were kind of encouraged to add to the wall. So there were like pens and paper on the walls, and you could like write your own inspirational, calming and lovely quotes on the walls for other people, and you could stay there as long as you liked, and you weren't allowed to talk loudly, you weren't allowed to play music. It was literally just for chilling out and just taking some time out from the con. And I just thought it was such a lovely thing that someone, as I said, either at Penguin Random House or Mind, or possibly a combination of both of them, recognise that some people go to book cons for the books, not for the socialising and the general craziness that they can be. And I just thought it was a really lovely touch, and I really hope that that becomes a regular thing at YALC now, because I spent quite a bit of time in it on the Friday that I was there, and I know that if I had for some reason pushed myself to go on the Saturday or the Sunday, I probably would have spent all day in there, because that's just what I wanted to do. I really just wanted to be by myself for most of the time this year at YALC, because I was just feeling really anxious and stressed, and I just really wanted to be there for the books, but also kind of didn't want to be there at the same time, if you know what I mean. But anyway, bad stuff out of the way. For some reason, even though I was only there the one day, I managed to come away on that one Friday with 15 books. And I actually went to YALC thinking, okay, I don't need any books because I have a ridiculous amount of unread books at home. I do not need any books. The only books that I will be picking up are books that are there that I've either wanted for a really long time, or books that I feel I can probably only get right here, right now for that price. So I thought, I'm not going to have a big YALC haul this year. And I've come away with 15 books, and to be honest, I think I've actually got at least one book from pretty much all of the major publishers, apart from HarperCollins, because obviously I get HarperCollins books all the time at work. But all of the other major publishers, I think I've got at least one book from, because that's how I did it. I went to each of the stalls of each of the publishers, seeing what they've got. yeah, apart from the HarperCollins, I've got at least one book from each of the major publishers, which is crazy. It really is crazy. But anyway, yes, I got a lot of books from YALC, and now I am going to shut up rambling and just get on and show you them. So the first book, and this was probably actually the first stall that I went to as soon as I went to YALC, was the stall for Macmillan Publishers, and they were doing a promotion for Three Dark Crowns by Kenda Blake. And I know this is a YA fantasy series. I think it's a trilogy. I don't know whether all of the books are out now though. This is the first book. This book has been out for a couple of years now, and what they were doing at Macmillan is they had 3 different fruit juices, one red, one green and one yellow, I think, and they were supposed to represent each of the 3 princesses in this series. So this series follows 3 princesses who are all sisters, and they each have a elemental magic, and I think each of their magic is like a different elemental magic kind of thing, and I think in this series they are kind of fighting to get overall control of the kingdom or something like that. I think it's a little bit Game of Thronesy, but between just 3 sisters, something like that. I don't know, I haven't read it. But anyway, I had to pick one of these fruit juices, and I literally just had to drink a glass of whatever fruit juice I wanted, and I chose the kind of red coloured one, which is why I've got the red edition of this book. Had a glass of it, and the girl just said, here you go, here's your free copy of Three Dark Crowns. And I was like, okay, I literally only had to drink a little glass of fruit juice and you've just given me a free book. That's absolutely insane. But anyway, now I have a copy of Three Dark Crowns, so maybe I will pick it up and give it a go. I have heard mixed things about it, but I do know that a lot of people do love this series, so yeah, maybe I will pick it up and give it a go super soon. The next 2 books I got from Penguin Random House. Penguin Random House actually had 2 stalls this year. They had one for UK books and one for US editions of Penguin's books, which I thought was really, really cool. So the 2 books that I got from Penguin UK were The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth, and this is a book that is on my August TBR because I really, really want to read this super soon. This is a book that I've wanted to read for the longest time, and I absolutely adore this paperback because it's got the rainbow pride stripes down the edges, because this is of course a YA lesbian contemporary romance, and I'm just so pumped for it. I cannot wait to get into this, and I will be super soon. So I did actually read the summary of this out in my August TBR video, so I will leave a link to that video in the description down below. So if you want to know more about this book, obviously give that video a watch. And the other book that I got from Penguin UK is Bright We Burn by Kiersten White, and this is the 3rd book in her, I think it's called the Conqueror's Saga series or something like that. The first book is And I Darken, which I have read and really, really loved, and the second book is Now I Rise, which I do own but haven't read yet, and this is the 3rd book. I believe this might be the last. I think it's just a trilogy. So now that I have all 3 books, as I said, I really, really loved the first one, so hopefully now that I do have the other 2, I will be able to finish the series and hopefully enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first book. So yeah. Now on to the books that I got from Penguin's US stand. So Penguin's US stand were doing a deal where if you bought 2 books you could get an ARC. I think it was literally just buy a book, get an ARC. So they had ARCs as well as like finished copies, books that you had to buy. So I bought 2 of their finished copies because they looked really, really interesting. So the 2 finished copies that I bought from them were Wink Poppy Midnight by April Genevieve Tucholke, and I know this book was doing its rounds on BookTube either end of last year or beginning of this year, I think, and I don't know too much about it, but I do think it is a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I think it's kind of like a sort of dark fairy tale kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure. It says on the back, just literally 2 girls, 1 boy, 1 summer, 1 bad thing. What really happened? Someone knows, someone is lying. And that's pretty much all I know, but I'm really, really intrigued by it. It's one of these lovely US floppy paperbacks, which I'm just obsessed with. So yeah, I just thought I would pick it up because I've always been a little bit intrigued by it. So yeah. And the other book that I bought from Penguin US is A Line in the Dark by Malinda Lo. So I have read Ash by Malinda Lo. Really, really loved it. That is a bisexual retelling of Cinderella, and I just thought it was so intense and so, so good. I really, really loved it. And I'm really, really intrigued by this cover as well. It's like the hand with the black kind of gloopy painty stuff just dripping off it. So I think this one's a little bit dark. It says, "The line between best friend and something more is a line always crossed in the dark. Jess Wong is Angie Redmond's best friend, and that's the most important thing, even if Angie can't see how Jess truly feels. Being the girl no one remembers is okay with Jess anyway. While nobody notices her, she's free to watch everyone else. But when Angie begins to fall for Margot Adams, a girl from the nearby boarding school, Jess can see it coming from a mile away. Suddenly, her gift for observation is a curse. As Angie drags Jess further into Margot's circle, Jess finds more than her friend's growing crush. Secrets lie just beneath the carefree surface of this world of privilege, and when they come out, Jess knows Angie won't be able to handle the consequences. When the inevitable darkness finally descends, Angie will need her best friend." So that just sounds super intriguing, maybe a little bit of a dark kind of friendship story, love triangle kind of thing. I'm super intrigued. So yeah, I just thought I would pick it up. And then the two arcs that I got for buying those books were The History of Jane Doe by Michael Belanger, and I know nothing about this. I was literally just intrigued by this cover. It's got a little green cow, as you can see there. I think this is already out. I'm not sure when it came out or if it's come out at all. I'm not sure. It says, "Before Jane, Raymond Green was a historian without a story of his own. His best friend Simon was that weird kid who drank way too much milk. But when the sarcastic, smart, conspiracy theory loving Jane moves to their small town of Burgerville, the universe shifts, and Jane chooses them as her people. And so begins a junior year of Never Have I Ever sessions, tours through the town's hilariously bizarre history, green cows, human groundhogs, epiphany-filled rides in Simon's mum's minivan, and best of all, first love. For once, Ray is more obsessed with the present than the past. The problem with the present, though, is that you don't know what's coming, and sometimes what's coming is devastating. It's a powerful debut that will make you laugh out loud as it rips you to shreds. Michael Belanger navigates the wonder of finding that person who finally sees you, the pain of depression, the irreplaceability of a best friend, and the beautiful, horrible, astonishing, hilarious, tragic truth of the past, present, and future." So I am super intrigued by that. I think it's one of those books that's going to make me laugh and cry, and I'm always up for those. So yeah, super intrigued by this one. And the other arc that I got from Penguin US is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Andrews. And I have seen this doing its rounds a little bit on BookTube. I think my friend Charlie at Duvet Day Devours really, really loved this. I don't know too much about it though. I am just super, super intrigued by it. It says, "Meet teenage Wiccan Mila Flores, who truly could not care less what you think about her Doc Martens, her attitude, or her weight, because she knows that no matter what, her BFF Riley is right by her side. So when Briley and Fairmont Academy mean girls, June Phelan Park, and Dayton Nesseth die under suspicious circumstances, Mila refuses to believe everyone's explanation that her BFF was involved in a suicide pact. Instead, armed with a tube of lip gloss and an ancient grimoire, Mila does the unthinkable to uncover the truth. She brings the girls back to life. Unfortunately, Riley, June and Dayton have no recollection of their murders, but they do have unfinished business to attend to. Now with only 7 days until the spell wears off and the girls return to their graves, Mila must wrangle the distracted group of undead teens and work fast to discover their murderer before the killer strikes again." So it just sounds super, super good. It reminds me of a book I read earlier on this year called Dead Girls by Abigail Tartolin, but a more kind of quirky, funny YA take on it. So yeah, I am super, super intrigued by it. So yeah, looking forward to this one. And then I went over to Hodder's stand, and there were two Hodder imprints, Orion and Galanx, I think, and they were kind of together. They had their books together, and they had a book that has been on my wish list for a really, really long time, and that is Strange Weather by Joe Hill. And I just thought I need to pick this up. It is slightly cheaper than normal, so I just thought I'm going to pick it up now. And I believe this is a collection of short stories by him all revolving around unusual weather phenomenons. So I think there's one about a tornado, one about a really vicious storm, one about maybe a flood or something like that. So yeah, I really loved Joe Hill. I've loved everything that I've ever read of his, so yeah, really looking forward to this one. And then by complete contrast, I also picked up What Fresh Hell by Lucy Vine, and this is apparently a really funny women's contemporary story about a hen party, like a group of bridesmaids and the bride or something like that. I think it's like a YA version of the film Bridesmaids, which I absolutely love. It makes me laugh every time I watch it. So yeah, it says, what's worse than a hen do with people you hate? Planning one for your bridezilla best friend. And it just sounds really good, super funny. Again, the back just says, what do you do if you cross a dozen drunk hens with a shiny butler in the buff? Meet Lila Fox, she's on the hen do from hell. Then she gets a message, 44 of them actually, from her best friend with big news. She's getting married in 6 months. Oh, and Lila's her maid of honour, which means she just got signed up for a military schedule of wedding fairs and weekly planning meetings, Excel spreadsheets and endless hen emails, all the enforced expensive fun you can imagine. What fresh hell is this? So it just sounds really cute, really funny. So yeah, I just thought I'd pick it up and give it a go. The next store I went to was a publisher called Little Tiger Press, and they publish Red Eye books. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like a sort of series of really creepy horror. I don't know whether they're always paranormal, but there's always something a little bit spooky about these books. So anyway, one of those that I picked up is Charlotte Says, and I think this is a prequel to another book called Frozen Charlotte by Alex Bell. I don't know too much about it. I have got Frozen Charlotte though, but I haven't read it yet, but I know people really love that book. So the back of this one says, let's play a game. What fun it is to be monstrous. Tormented by memories of the fire that destroyed her home, Jemima flees to the remote Isle of Skye, but her role as assistant mistress at dumb vegan school for girls is far from the fresh start she so desperately needs. Then Jemima receives a box of dolls from a mystery sender, and so the games begin. So it just sounds super creepy and super exactly like my kind of thing. So really excited for this one. The next Red Eye book that I got is another book by Alex Bell called The Haunting, and I'm just super intrigued by this cover. It says, she's coming for you, and then the back says, some curses grow stronger with time. People say that all Cornish inns are haunted, but the Water Witch's history is particularly chilling. Built from the salvaged timber of a cursed ship, the guest house's dark secrets go further back than anyone can remember. Emma is permanently confined to a wheelchair after an accident at the Water Witch, which took place when she was 10. 7 years later, she decides to return to the place where the awful event occurred, but the ancient inn still has its ghosts, and one spirit is more vengeful than ever. So again, that just sounds super good and exactly right up my street. I think I might save these Red Eye books for October and kind of do a little spooky October TBR. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. And the last book that I got from Little Tiger Press is Fur by Sharon Gosling, and I'd never heard of this book before. I'd never seen it around, but it says, we are the trees, we are the snow, we are the winter, we are the peace, we are the rage. Cut off from civilization by the harsh winter of northern Sweden, the Stromberg family shelter in their old plantation house. There are figures lurking within the ancient pine forests, and they're closing in. With nothing but four walls between the Strombergs and the evil that's outside, they watch and wait for the snows to melt. But when signs appear that an even greater danger is about to strike, it becomes harder and harder to distinguish reality from illusion. All they've got to do is stay sane and survive the winter. That sounds exactly like my kind of thing. I love spooky stories set in Scandinavia, and that just sounds absolutely amazing. So super excited for this one too. And the last stall that I went to was Bloomsbury's stall, and I think they were doing like 3 paperbacks for £10 or something, and I just couldn't resist it. By this point I was just literally in full book buying and book acquiring mode, so I bought 3 paperbacks for £10 from Bloomsbury. So the first one that I got is All of This Is True by Lygia de Pennaflor, I think. And again, I've never heard of this book, but I was just super intrigued by it. So it says, Miri loves the novel Undertow like it's a living being. So when she and her friends get the chance to meet the author Fatima Rowe, they plot a way to get closer to her. As for what happened with Jonah, well, obviously none of that was Fatima's fault. Soleil wants to be a writer herself one day. She can't believe it when Fatima asks them to hang out with her, and having Jonah there makes it even better. Penny is more than the party girl everyone thinks she is, and she's willing to share her darkest secrets with Fatima to prove it. But what will happen when Fatima finds out about Jonah? All of This Is True is a story of obsession and revenge, betrayal and forgiveness, and the devastating result of a secret that didn't stay buried. So I really want to know exactly what happened to Jonah, and that's exactly why I picked it up. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. The next one that I got from Bloomsbury is Moonrise by Sarah Crossan. I have read a couple of Sarah Crossan books before. She tends to write in verse, and they tend to be kind of YA contemporaries, but they're super quick to get through. They're always really touching, and some really lovely characters too, and I have heard really good things about this one. I think it might have been nominated for the YA Book Prize for this year. I don't think it won though, but I think it was nominated. So this just says, they think I hurt someone, but I didn't, you hear? Because people are going to be telling you all kinds of lies. I need you to know the truth. Joe hasn't seen his brother for 10 years, and it's for the most brutal of reasons. Ed is on death row, but now Ed's execution date's been set, and this might be the last summer they have together. So that just sounds super emotional and super dramatic. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. And the last book that I got from Bloomsbury is The Earth, My Butt and Other Big Round Things by Carolyn Mackler. And this just sounds exactly like my kind of thing. I really love funny, quirky, little YA stories about people loving themselves unashamedly, and the back of this says, it's probably time to write a list. Virginia's beautiful sister is in the Peace Corps. Her golden boy brother is a star student at Columbia University. And Virginia, she spends her lunchtimes hiding in a toilet cubicle, eating crisps. Virginia needs a life survival plan fast. Enter the Fat Girl Code of Conduct, a list of rules to make her hard to notice and easy to like. But when her flawless family suddenly falls apart, it's time for Virginia to stop trying to disappear and start thinking big. And I don't know, I was just drawn to it. I was probably drawn to it because of the donuts on the cover, to be honest, and also the title really made me smile. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this one. This definitely sounds like a summer read, so I might pick this up pretty soon. And the last book that I managed to acquire from YALC, I actually acquired from the Book Swap, because they have a book swap at YALC as well, where you can put books and take books, if books that you don't want anymore, and you can take books if there are any that you like the look of. And I just picked up a little hardcover of Marisi by Maria Turchaninov. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how you spell it though, however I just pronounced it. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. However, I just pronounced it. Maria Turchaninov. I'm not going to try again. Anyway, I believe this was around at some point on BookTube last year as well. I'm just really intrigued by the cover. It says, hear her story, never forget. Again, I don't know too much about it. It's a little tiny little hardback though. It's not very long. It says, a world where girls live in fear, a safe haven far away, but is it enough? This is Marisi's story. Marisi came to the Red Abbey several years ago in the Hunger Winter. Before then, she'd only heard rumours of its existence in secret folk tales. In a world where girls aren't allowed to do as they please, an island inhabited solely by women sounded like a fantasy, but now Marisi's here and she knows it's real. She's safe. Then one day, Jay, tangled fair hair, clothes stiff with dirt, scars on her back, arrives on a ship. She's fled to the island to escape terrible danger and unimaginable cruelty, and the men who hurt her will stop at nothing to find her. Now the women and girls of the Red Abbey must use all their powers and ancient knowledge to combat the forces that want to destroy them, and Marisi, haunted by her own nightmares, must confront her very deepest, darkest fears. So again, I'm super intrigued by that. I love stories about all female societies and running from injustices and cruel treatment towards them, and dark secrets as well. You guys, I know I love all that. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. And that is it for my YALC book haul. Did you go to YALC this year? Let me know what books you picked up there or what books you've recently acquired. I would love to know. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.